What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of 94 Feet with Coach JT. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment below. Let me know what you think as I continue to grow and just have some dope guests on my show. Take a second, bear with me as I do the intro for my guest today. Her resume is lengthy, but it's astonishing, if I say the least. A 2008 graduate from Piedmont High School. As a freshman, she helped Piedmont High School claim the state title. She was also named to the Cal High Sports All-Freshman team. She was also named third team All-State. As a sophomore, she was named All-Metro, All-League. She's also picked the end of the Edge Oregon Trail All-Tournament team. As a junior, she averaged 24 points that season and had scored over 1,300 plus points in just only 3 years. She was named the co-MVP of the end of the Oregon Trail Tournament, selected a Street and Smith's Honorable Mention All-American. As a senior, ranked 35th nationally by the Blue Star Reports and number 53 by the HoopGurlz.com. After high school, she attended the University of California, where she scored a career-high 20 points against St. Mary's with 4 steals, 3 assists, and she followed that up with 18 points in the Pac-12 opener against Arizona. She then transferred to Texas Tech University, one of the 3 players to score 20 points or more multiple times. She also scored in double figures 17 times as a junior. To finish up her senior year, some career highlights, she finished with 1,000 points at Texas Tech in just 3 seasons. She ranked 6th all-time in Texas Tech history with 177 career three-point field goals made, 7th all-time in Texas Tech history with 81% from the free throw line. Also started 99 of 100 games played at Texas Tech by way of Piedmont High School, California Bay Area. How you look at it? Dr. Casey Morris, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Glad
I'm doing
to be
good.
here.
Thanks for taking time out your schedule. Excuse me, I had to make sure I get that right. You have a crazy resume, but as a fellow baller, I mean, that is your accomplishments are super dope, and congratulations to you on those. That's super dope. So as you know, being a baller and I mean playing the game 94 feet with Coach JT, we're gonna jump right into the question and the answer session real quick. But let me know for people listening about just where you grew up, where you coming from, where you came from, and the upbringing a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I was like in Texas, I would tell everybody I'm from Oakland because I love Oakland. But
Okay.
we've lived in so many different places. So I started off probably in El Cerrito, into Portland Middle School. Then we left, and then went to Fairfield for middle school, and then ended up at Piedmont High School. So, but always played in Oakland. My grandmother's from Oakland, lived in Oakland, so my heart's in Oakland. Now I live in Sacramento, so yeah, in Sacramento. So I guess my daughter's gonna be from Sac.
That's what's up. So let's talk about just growing up in Oakland, just sports in general. I know, again, I know growing up during different eras, sports is multiple sports. So what was the main sport for you, or what ones all did you play growing up? I'm sure it was more than one basketball.
Yeah, so I started off like a lot of people, like in the YMCA, EOYDC in Oakland. So we were always in a lot of different sports, but basketball was probably the one I attached to the most. I played soccer. Then in high school, I actually played softball my freshman season in high school, and it was fun. And they wanted me to keep playing, but I was like, I like it, but I really want to focus on basketball. So I ended up going with basketball.
That's what's up. So early on that decision, who are the players that you were looking up to or mimicking your game after kind of watching a lot that had your eye, be it male or female?
Oh, man, I think there are so many. If I think about locally, like I used to watch Oakland Tech so often, like Quentin Thomas and Mondo,
Yep.
Leon Poe. We used to go and watch all those games when I was going into high school. And then there was also women's players at Oakland Tech that influenced me. So Alexis Gray Lawson, Devin A. Hampton. They were all at Oakland Tech. And then I ended up playing with Courtney and Ashley Paris, who were at Piedmont High School. So more of like the local players. But just as far as professional players, my favorite all time was always Allen Iverson.
Okay.
So I wanted to have a crossover like him. I played point my whole life when I was younger. Then when I got into college, I started playing at 2 guard. So he was my idol. And then I guess women's side, for North Carolina, Ivory Lotto was one of my favorite women players to watch. So
Yeah, she was definitely dope. Shout out to Q, man. I had him on the show a little while ago, man. He's a dope dude, man. Super,
yeah,
super talented, super talented. His team was loaded too. They was
yeah.
that was crazy. That's what's up. So, I mean, as you know now, a lot of. I mean, we talked offline about getting training for kids and stuff like that. Growing up during your time, how much work or how many hours you put in perfecting your craft as far as working on your game? How much time did you put in?
Oh man, I want to say like, so my dad was my coach a lot of my life when I was younger. So he used to take us around. He had a boys team in Oakland. And I played for his boys team when we were really young. So I would say like I would spend when I was young probably more than half my day in the gym all the time. And if I wasn't, he was coming inside like somebody else is getting better than you, so you better get up and go put in that work. So and then when I got a little older in high school, I would go. So we had the normal practice hours we have in high school. So Piedmont, we probably practice after school from 4 to 6:30 or something, 2.5 hours. But before that, I would always go to Joaquin Miller in Oakland, which is a big set of stairs, and I would run the stairs with my dad before we got to practice, and then go to practice after that, and then put in extra shots after practice. So I was always ready to stay in the gym and put in the extra work.
That's what's up. Shout out to Pops for doing that. Let me ask this
Yeah.
question though early on because I know nowadays kids they burn out early. Before you get to high school, growing up, was there a point where you ever said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else?
Never. I think that it was like for me it was a little different. I think I fell in love with basketball pretty early. So when I was a little kid, like in elementary school, there's all these little sports you can play. You can play tetherball or four square or something like that, whatever you want to play. And my sisters always teased me because I was a tomboy, so they'd be playing double dutch or something. I never knew how to double dutch. I was always at the basketball court, so I had a passion for it that was deeper than what it was. I think that what my dad was intense. So he would be like pushing me a lot, which I'm very grateful for now. But there were some times for sure that I would be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this because he put so much pressure on me. But it wasn't because of the sport. It was more because of the pressure. But I'm thankful for it now as I'm older. I'm like, if I didn't have that, who knows if I would have made it this far. So I'm thankful for that now.
Yeah, that's what's up. So going into this high school, man, look at this resume career. Of course, the work is paying off, right? Hard work. But during high school, what are some of the, I mean, again, you have a lot of highlights, but what are some of the highlights that maybe I read or you can think about that kind of come back to like, you remember actually playing those game situations, like something that may like kind of stuck with you forever?
Yeah, I think that every year we played against St. Patrick's, which was a really big game for us because they were like the local team they were in Van or Fairfield or Vallejo, I don't know, but it was a team that we always looked forward to because they had a pretty good team too. And it was after Courtney and Ashley Paris left. So when they were there, we played teams would literally fly in from around everywhere to play against us because we had the Paris twins.
Right.
So because of that, it was a little bit different. My freshman year, it was super fun. Those games against Oakland Tech, playing against like people I thought were like my idols, like Alexis Gray Lawson and Devin A. Hampton when I was younger. I finally got to play with them in high school. Those are the games I remember the most when I was a freshman. But then when I got older, I'd say like those competitive games, local games where the crowd was packed because it was local. Those are my favorite moments when everybody was there. It was loud. It was live.
So during those moments, um, how high or how low would you think? I know some people, you get in that environment, right? Your blood pressure or your heart rate goes. Were you a high, like, that, or you kind of was the even kill type person during those situations? Because I know different people for different situations kind of fluctuate.
Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of gets me excited while you're talking about it because I'm like, I'm not the type that like gets hyped and stuff. Like a lot of people will be like in your face and everything like that. It takes a lot for me to get like that. I'll do that when we're winning or like we score a good point. But before the game, I try to stay really calm. Actually, it's funny because I said like one of the people that like put pressure on me earlier on who made me be like, do I really want to do this at this intensive level was my dad. But when I got into playing competitively in college, I probably didn't. I like had you have your routine. If I didn't call my dad before a game and be like, hey, I'm about to play, then I wouldn't be as calm during the game. So I like went back to him to get that same kind of motivation. But he was a lot calmer when I got into college. So in high school, I was the type that really stayed like calm and chill. And even when I played pretty smoothly. But then I got intense when we were like, I was one of those players that's like up in my teammates' face. I got on their nerves, I know for a fact. But I would be like, let's go, like if we're losing, I'm in your face so we can get up. So I was calm in some sense internally, but externally, I think people felt my energy.
Yeah, I definitely. I did, like I said, did some research over the last few days, look at some game film I was watching. I was like, okay, yeah. So, but you can see, you could tell how Pops put the impression on you, but it made it. I mean, if you can deal with him, the game stuff wasn't is nowhere near as stressful.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and like in today's times, kids get recruited. This social media stuff is crazy. You can advertise for yourself or whatever. During your time again with the numbers you have, I'm sure locally, like you said, they had the Cal stuff. When the offers started coming in for you?
Pretty young. I was like in 8th grade, I think, when I got my first offer from Vanderbilt. So they were the first people who offered me, and I was really excited, obviously, because I had an offer. And when you're really young, I have an older sister, so she was getting offers from like Hawaii and UMKC. She went to UMKC, University of Missouri, Kansas City. So I remember her coach came and recruited her, and I was like, I'm going to school with her. And my dad and mom were like, nah, be quiet. Wait your turn.
Don't commit. Don't commit.
So I got offers pretty early, and then they just kept coming in, and I was pretty, fortunate to have like a bin of offers where I can take, my time with schools and see which one I wanted to go to.
That's what's up. So during this process, anybody you leaned on for advice or tips? Because I know it's crazy. People, they tell you what they want to tell you. Who knows, the truth is coming out. Who did you lean on to kind of help you through this process?
It's funny. I don't even remember like leaning on anybody particularly. I was so dependent on like what my dad's opinion was. So it was really like he probably was doing the research, and I was telling him like I want to go to. I remember when I first said I wanted to go to Cal. One person, my high school coach, was like, I don't know if it's a good choice, and you're really not trying to hear that if it's your like school that you've been wanting to go to. So Cal was local. It was a D1 school. It was in the Pac-12, Pac-10 now, but. Yep. Like my dad was telling me, it's close, that's good. So, I went to Cal, but I could have and probably should have listened to like my high school coach and other people at the time, because they were telling me about like how she plays her players and everything, and her style of play. So you don't really want to hear that when you're younger, but I definitely could have probably taken advice more from other people who've been there.
Yeah, that's what's up. Before you leave the high school scene, during high school, did you experience any setbacks, any type of losses where you was like, okay, man, I got to bounce back from this, or anything you had to overcome during that time before you got to college?
Yeah, I think that you mean like losses, like in general.
Anything, life, basketball, because I mean, as you know, everybody has their story, right? We all have to go through something, I believe, to reach another level in our life where we want to get to.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that I was fortunate enough to not like have anything that was super abrupt to my experience. So I didn't lose like any close family, but I had obviously, you have cousins and stuff that you lose who are close to you, and then grandparents. But I don't know if that necessarily, I think more in college when I was able to stop and evaluate, that's when that kind of stuff impacted me. But in high school, I would say the most thing that impacted me was like my experiences with teammates, like learning how to, I had a different kind of an atmosphere. So Piedmont is like predominantly white school. Mm-hmm. Like most of the players there when I was there were African American, but we still, we had different things culturally, and sometimes like the way I communicated, my upbringing was a lot different than theirs. So like when I get aggressive and I'm like, let's go. I remember we had like a team meeting and they sat me down. They were like, pretty much like, we're not used to this, and like you need to stop yelling at us like this. And I was like, I thought I was playing with passion, like I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of them are there for different reasons. Like basketball isn't like their priority, which we don't say it outwardly because you want to say school's first all the time, but to be honest, some people your priority is sports because that's the way you can get out and get an opportunity to go to college. So it was a different level of commitment to that. So I kind of like pulled back and I got out of my character, which I wish I hadn't, because in college, everybody's more like you. Like if they make it to the next level, everybody's intense like that. So I kind of lost that. So I was trying to like, find my way to get back to that, but then not offend anybody. So I wish I wouldn't have lost that about myself earlier on.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's a great point because, like I said, you either get left behind in college or you make it. Like it's not too many ways you're gonna go. So coming out of high school, you get to Cal, right? What are some of the biggest, just as far as personally game wise, that you had to adjust with things that okay, this is another level? Because I mean, your numbers don't lie. High school was crazy, right? But then now going to college and still do those same numbers. What are some of the things that you had to realize? I got to turn this up a little bit, or I got to work out a little harder. What things did you have to kind of step up?
Yeah, for sure. I think that just understanding that there's a little bit more politics involved in college. So, like as an adult, I would tell a younger player that to not focus so much on what's going on with the coaching staff, what's going on externally, but just focus on making sure you're better, because there's so many opportunities and paths you can go. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. So like you may be there and you may be thinking you're like a star player, but you have to remember coaches are doing this. Some of them are in for the right reason. Some of them are in it so they could take you away from being on another team. You never know what their reason is or their politics or what their motives are. So understanding that you want to remember why you started doing this in the first place, to have fun, stay true to yourself, not allow any of that external stuff to get in your head. So for me, that's really what I learned when I first went to Cal. I kind of always had that work ethic. Like I always put in extra work, and we did conditioning. I always came in first when we were doing our miles and stuff, which was nothing new. Luckily, my high school coach prepared us for running miles and all that. So when I got to Cal Berkeley, we had to track in our time for our miles. I was getting first or up in the top two, if not first. So I was small though, so I wasn't getting the weight room. But all that stuff, to be honest, like I don't think any of the extra, like the weights and who can lift more, that's great, and they make it seem like it matters in preseason, but if you're performing in the game, you got to play. So that's really what I would say, is just make sure you're focusing on yourself. Sometimes, especially for women, we can get so mentally drained because we're trying to focus on how we can please and improve ourselves in different ways, but just to make sure you stay true to yourself. And I wish I knew how to meditate in college. Right. But yeah, so just being mentally strong.
So you talk about that part, right? Let's take a second to talk about that mental health part, because I think right, the long days, practices, schooling, traveling, just did that ever at a point get just heavy for you? Where like you said, I need to take a break, or can I just sleep for a minute? Can I stay in the bed extra time? Did that weigh on you heavy at any point in your career in college?
I think it does for every athlete, but we really don't think about it because it's just normal for us. So like when we're in the moment, like that's nothing new. Every athlete on campus is having to come up and wake up at 6 a.m. to do workouts, then come to practice, then go to class, then come back and get some extra shots up. And if you're not getting extra shots up and you're sleeping instead, your coach is probably like, well, it's other people in here getting extra shots up. So, you kind of need to go get your extra shots. But I think at the time we really don't think about it. But if you think about like kind of how, and I guess I can speak for myself, I don't like to generalize to every student athlete. But for me, like sometimes I would be like, I wouldn't say like sad or anything, but I would be easily triggered. Like if somebody says something or if somebody's saying something in practice or, I might be emotional about it. Like I remember my coach told me I wasn't starting and I was like, what? In that one, I started 99 out of 100 games. I was like, oh, she trying to play me. She trying to mess up my record.
Crazy.
I don't know if that was like what the reason was, but like when you're younger, it's like the world is against you. If you're really drained mentally, it feels like everything is heavier than it is. So I think that's kind of what was the reason, because we really don't take the time as college players to sit and, meditation and making sure you're mentally stable.
Right. Plus, I mean, you're giving so much. I mean, I deserve this. I'm giving y'all my everything, but that's what's up. So you make the transition from Cal to Texas. How did Texas Tech land on your radar? How'd you get there? How'd you pick that location?
Yeah, I think that for me, I've been saying it for a minute, and so it's kind of like what I repetitively say. But if I really evaluate why I went there, they were just at my practices consistently. So before I went to Cal Berkeley, I remember seeing a Texas Tech coach there at my practices in high school. And then when I was ready to transfer, she was the first one to be there at my practice in high school, and she came from Texas to California. So just that consistency, like being there and wanting me to come there. And, I didn't have to beg or anything. They just were like, oh, we want you. Like, we've already seen what you can do. And their plan for me was to be more of like an immediate player, immediate impact. And that's what Cal had shared their plan for me was. But I think at Cal, I'm assuming they had the plan to kind of develop me and then get me into the starting rotation. But
You want to
I
go?
was like, I'm not waiting until I'm a junior to play.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's good.
yeah.
It's good to be chosen. As my boys say in the crew, man. It's good to be chosen. They wanted you, so that's dope.
Yeah.
You going to have a crazy career. Just, I went to school down south in the south though, but you're in Texas. That environment though, playing down there from playing in California, what's the big difference of that?
Oh man, it's way different. I don't even know. Like, I think it's great to be in California to be able to play in front of your families. But when you talk about the fan support in Texas, sports is number one. Period.
Fact.
So our crowds, like, we played against the number one team in the nation 3 times because we played against Baylor. Like, they were in our league. So we beat them. And then we lost to them heck of times too, though. So, but still, it was like the fan support. It was crazy. Like, it was nothing like. It was great too. When I played at Cal, I remember we still did good. My first year at Cal, we went to Elite Eight or something like that, and our Stanford games were packed. But it was just the environment and atmosphere. It was crazy every single game at Texas Tech. So it was huge.
I can only imagine what the tailgates look like in the parking lot and the food and the barbecue, right?
Crazy.
Wild, the red. So thought about. Football. I know, like, Texas and Texas Tech is that the big game, or no? That's Texas. What is your rival school for your games there?
Yep, it's UT and Texas Tech, so okay. Texas and Texas Tech. But for women's basketball, it was really Baylor and Texas Tech because they were ranked number 1.
Yeah.
And when I tell you these girls used to talk so much, I don't know if I can cuss
you
on
good?
you, but
go ahead.
So much shit. They used to talk all the time, like, be in your face, and I was like, oh, I'm ready for this game. Like, let's go. But yeah, Baylor was for sure my number 1 because they just had so much mouth. Yeah. So I was ready.
So being from California in the Bay Area, I know, right? We talk a little different, and we can go back and talk. See, now, did any of your teammates not like that way you kind of go back, or they was with it with you? They kind of was rocking with you because I know you could go out there.
Oh, it was for sure with it. Like, they was like, yeah, let's go, and they knew it was like. I had another player. One of my teammates was from Oakland, and so she came, and so she transferred too. It was so fun. Like, it was just like they knew us as the Cali girls.
Yep, you get labeled for sure.
It was real.
Yeah, that's what's up. Super dope. You finish up your career, man. Like I said, you got some stats and some numbers that'll probably hang around for a while. After you finish up, what's the next step? What's on your mind now? Because again, the accomplishments is there, the runs are there, the numbers are there. But then now, women's basketball. What are you thinking? Getting ready to graduate. What's on your mind at this point?
I really didn't have a plan to be where I'm at now. I was wanting to play professionally, so I had a plan to go play, and I was so Cheryl Swoops at the time. She went to Texas Tech University too. So she was there, and so I had seen her often. She became like one of my mentors, and she was gonna like help me with like my journey to going to the next level. And so I had actually like done the physical and everything for the WNBA, and I was planning to play overseas. And I got surgery my senior year. And the doctor was pretty much like, you can try to play if you want to, but I guarantee you, if you try to play anymore, you probably won't be able to have kids. And I knew I wanted to have kids eventually. So my ankle was torn up on the inside. So I injured it junior year. I hit it on both sides. I landed on someone's foot, and it hit the ground on both sides. So I was playing with the injured ankle, and they would just like give me, cortisone and everything, and, do treatments and stuff. And so it was so bad when I was a senior that they were pretty much like, you probably should hang up your shoes. So I had to make a decision.
Wow. So, okay. Yeah. We talk about that real quick. Just how long did it take you to get past or over that? Because that's crazy. I mean, you off a hot season. I mean, great numbers potentially. Then you had to just stop. What? How do you feel at this point?
I mean, at this point, I'm good because of my career right now, where I am in my career. And, sometimes it's hard it's a hard pill to swallow when you have to think about you've been doing this for so long. It's something you're committed to, and then you have to shift gears and do something completely different. So I think it was definitely like, I would have my moments where I would cry and be really sad because I was done with basketball, but I knew I was going to try to do, and I was rehabbing for a minute, but it just wasn't the same. Like, I was rehabbing with my trainer, but it never really felt right again. So I knew it was going to pretty much be over, and I just had to start redirected my mindset. So I always took school seriously, and luckily my senior year I started my master's degree. So if you start your master's degree on a scholarship, even if you finish your academic eligibility, you still can complete your rest of your academic year. So I got my master's paid for free.
Dope.
So after my master's degree, I started working at this week job, like in sales for a carpet cleaning company. It was horrible, but it was a good character building experience. Right. And then from there, I worked at the university. I found a connection from actually playing pickup at the gym. Somebody saw me playing, and he was like, "You should come apply for this job at the university." So got a job there, and then worked at the university, fell in love with what I was doing because I was working with youth and making sure they had opportunities to go to college. And then from there, I started getting my PhD because I knew I wanted to be at the highest level at the university, which for that, you most likely need a higher degree like a PhD to be considered a dean or director or something. So I went for that. And so it kind of worked out for the better because now I'm in technology. So I'm in a good situation and good career. So
that's what's up. I got a twin sister, got her PhD too. And I was like, I can't do it. I got a master's, but I'm like, I applied y'all for that, man. That's just more school. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I didn't leave this part off, but I wanted to save it for the end of this, as far as children's books, kids author. You got your first book out now. What inspired you to write the books? I think I've been looking at the little title, reading the stuff that you're showing on your Instagram and online. Super dope, and it's also interesting. Again, like something that we can relate to. So, what inspired you to get into that aspect and get the book out?
Yeah. So I have my 5-year-old. I have a daughter, and she's really my inspiration. So everything I do is like she talks about something. I'm like, I could write a book about that. She has so many great ideas. You know how kids are; they just have the best ideas. So. She's always really shy, and so I was thinking about, this year we've been through, COVID, and then a lot of like abrupt racism and things that a lot of us have already been familiar with, but a lot of people are in front of the TV and watching it, so it's become relevant for a lot of different people. And it was just time for, kids to know they can lean on their community. So we see a lot of books about like, diversity is important, which is true, it's very important, but we can't let them forget that if they go through a situation where they feel rejected, which they may, because we're going to go back in school after this COVID and kids hearing their parents talking, they may be prejudiced and not even do it intentionally. So kids need to lean on their own community, and people that look like them have been through something similar and be there for their community so they can be okay in the end.
That's what's up. And the title of the book is Playground Queen, right?
Yep.
Playground Queen. And you guys can definitely find it online, all platforms. # Playground Queen family. It's on there definitely. It looks amazing. Like I said, I'm about to go ahead and order it so I can support it. But it looks like you did a great job. How is it that now, I guess, shifting, right? So you play the game of basketball, you go through college, now you shift to this other type of challenge or part of your life. How dope is the experience right now of really getting this off the ground, right, and working to it, and now see it kind of rolling out? How's that feel for you?
Man, that's just like you explained it. That's exactly what it is. When you play sports, it's like you work so hard, you work and work and work, and you're working out, you're practicing and everything, and then you win a big championship or you beat the number 1 team in the nation, and it just feels great, and you want to celebrate. That's kind of how it is. Like, I think as an athlete, when we're done playing, we have to find ways for us to celebrate ourselves, and so getting yourself into things that are challenging and forcing yourself to do something that you may be uncomfortable with or it's new for you. But then, like, when you can celebrate and it's published and things are going successful, that gives you like a fuel. So I think that's a good thing for us to do as former athletes, like find things that push us to where we can feel like we can celebrate and get back to that celebration we were at when we played.
That's what's up. How does your little lady feel about the book kind of being about her or kind of funneled through her? How does that make her feel about it? Because she's 5. I'm sure she can understand all of this. They're so smart now. And, how does she feel about it?
We were just like talking together before you got on. She's taking a nap now, but she was like, every time she has an experience or situation. So she's been at the park recently, and a boy of a different race was like, I don't want to play with you, and he's playing with all the other kids, and she had to come tell me like, Mommy, he didn't want to play with me, and I'm like, okay. And I said, so how do you feel? And she's like, I feel like the playground queen, and I'm like, that's what's up. So like that kind of stuff really makes me happy, because even if she doesn't necessarily grasp all of the little symbolic things I put in there and what it represents in essence, like she doesn't get the full story of it, she still gets little parts of it. She gets to pick away it's important to lean on your community. Like Kaya had a friend with a boy who had curly hair like her. He had brown eyes like her. She found something in common with somebody and leaned on them. So she says stuff like that, and it's like, okay, even if you just get a little bit, you're learning something to where you can go to school and I can feel comfortable. If you are in a situation like this, you're able to deal with it and know what to do to approach it the right way.
Super dope, super dope. So before we get out of here, I love to have my guests give me something, or the people listening, something that they can look forward to, as far as any words of encouragement, any suggestions you got for them. I'm gonna give you the show for a minute. It's on you. Go ahead.
Okay, a lot of pressure.
It's all good. Hey, you big time. Hey, big time, man. Like I said, big stage, man. The numbers don't lie.
No, I think as far as like an athlete perspective, I always make sure to tell people who are athletes or are looking to go to the next level to make sure that they stay positive, they keep a positive mentality, and they always remember what they started for. So make sure they remember if it was fun for them, go back to what that was for them. It's fun. Don't put so much pressure on yourself, because life after sports, life during sports, you feel like in the moment it's the biggest thing in the world, but there's going to be so much more life in the future. So keep your character. Make sure you're a positive person outwardly. Make sure you're there for other people, because you're going to need those same people to uplift you. But also, don't ever change who you are for anybody, because there's going to be times through adversity where you feel like you're doing something wrong, and that's just life. Like when we're athletes, it feels like this is so hard. You know, I'm going through I'm playing hard. I'm not getting playing time, but adversity is something that's going to help them throughout their career. So I feel like really, even though we feel like as athletes, if you're a former athlete and you do something different, you feel like you're behind. If you look at everybody else, in reality, mentally, we're so far ahead because we've been through it. We've had to go through a sample of what life is like through sports, especially competitive sports. So you're good. Just remember to hone in on that positive stuff and those lessons that you learned along the way.
Great info, super dope. Give us where people can find you at, purchase books at. Also, one more time for the people specifically, what your Instagram handles, whatever you want. Go ahead, shout them out real quick so they can get these sales, man. Y'all go buy the book, buy multiple.
Yeah, so this is the book, The Playground Queen. You can find information at Dr. Casey's Books _ or you can go to my personal page, which is at KCNM15. Are you gonna put that information in
I
there
got
too?
you. I'm gonna take care of it.
Right?
Yep, I'm gonna take it all. I'm gonna put it all on there for you. I got you.
Okay, cool. And then the book is available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, which there's a link tree in my bio. So please do that. I also have a blog too. So if you guys are looking for athletes after sports, if you go to ballingonward.org, there's a blog with a lot of different information on my journey. So hopefully it can help you out.
That's what's up. Appreciate you, doctor. I know you got to get back to work, so I'm going to let you go. Appreciate you, and have a nice day again. Thank you for taking time out your day. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Not a problem. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye.